All right, so what's going on with the Golden State Warriors? They just dropped their second game to a team that they should have easily beaten in most seasons. First night, it was the Charlotte Hornets, where my guy Dennis Smith Jr., shout out to him, a little bit of a rocky start to his career. He had some ups and some downs, but I'm glad to see him playing well again. He took over. I think he almost had like a triple double or something, and took the Warriors to OT and got that W. And then tonight they lose to Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. Um, this is shocking from the Warriors coming off of a championship. I think everybody was expecting the young guys to play a big part in getting them through the regular season. And most people had them, I think even me had them with the number one seed this season, if not the Denver Nuggets. It was either them or the Denver Nuggets who most people had slated for getting that number one seed. And speaking of the Denver Nuggets, that's their other two losses. And I think most people would be like, okay, that makes sense. They lost to the other team that people expected to be at the top of the conference. But the Denver Nuggets themselves have not looked that good outside of the games that they've played the Golden State Warriors. So it's kind of a mixed bag. You're kind of not sure how to feel about them losing to the Nuggets. So, but I'll give them benefit of the doubt. But you still got to get at least one of those games. But that will transition me into a couple of points that I had about them so far this season. One is, well, based on those Nuggets games. One is Draymond doesn't really look the same. I don't know if the Poole incident earlier in the season is having an effect on him, or if it's just old age, or a combination of the two. But his defense isn't really there, so Jokic was really a problem for them in those two games that they played them, which I think was the deciding factor. And then also in that same vein, James Wiseman hasn't taken that leap like I think a lot of people were expecting him to take. I think a lot of people were expecting James Wiseman to get a lot more minutes along with the other young guys and really kind of take off this season and show why was he a number one draft pick? I think he was either no, he was three. Why he was the number three overall draft pick, a draft pick. He's been kind of on the shelf for the past few seasons because of injuries and not really understanding the system yet, and he hasn't really taken that leap. He doesn't get minutes like I think a lot of us expected him to. Just because they came off of a championship run, you probably want to get the young guys some minutes, and this is his third season. You would expect him to be ready now, where he knows the system. He should be able to show his talent, and it just hasn't happened. And I'm not really sure why. I probably have to see some more games before I can make a real guess as to why he hasn't made that leap. Because I still think he's skilled and talented enough to make an impact on this Golden State Warriors team and any other team in the league. He could be one of the best bigs in the league. He's a very talented, versatile, offensive and defensive player. I'm just not sure why it's not clicking yet. Then that also brings me to the other young guys on the team. In similar situations, I think Moses Moody and Jonathan Kamiga were both expected to take somewhat of big leaps during this regular season because the minutes would be there, because you don't want to play Clay, Steph, and Dre all of these minutes. So, give them to the young guys who've been there for a few years and should be primed and ready to kind of take on more of a role as you transition them into, the rest of the normal starters, getting older. And it just hasn't really happened. The opportunities have been there. They have not taken advantage of them like I thought that they would. Um, Moses Moody has played pretty. They've both played decent. I won't say that they've been terrible, but I think I was just expecting a little bit more. I was expecting a little more involvement in the offense. That hasn't really happened. I was expecting a lot more minutes. Steve Kerr hasn't really given them the minutes, although they should be there. They haven't played. Draymond and Klay Thompson have been on a minutes restriction. Um, and there's nobody else really to take the minutes. Dante DiVincenzo has been out. That was one of their signings. He hasn't even played well, but he's been out. I'm not sure why their minutes are still barely scratching 20 minutes a game when you are trying to keep your older players fresh and healthy to kind of last through the season. I'm not sure this is the one time where the Golden State Warriors kind of development of young players isn't looking as promising as it usually does. Also, Jordan Poole, I think rightfully so. He got off to a little bit of a slow start. I'm pretty sure he had a lot of stuff kind of going on initially with the whole Draymond incident and things like that. So I'm not going to dock him too much. And he picked it up tonight. He looked like Jordan Poole. Didn't really expect him to be in a slump for too long. And like I said, he got out of it. I expect him to be good going forward. So I'm not worried about him at all. And um, just to kind of cap it off, I will say out of all the players, Steph Curry has been exactly who you want him to be. Steph Curry has looked like a top 5 MVP candidate during the season. He's been doing his job. He has shown up every night. So nothing bad to say about him. Just more so not sure what's going on with this Warriors team. It could be a little bit of a, layover from winning a championship. The regular season probably isn't as appealing. You probably don't really get up for these games after you just played in, you know, big, what do you call it, high intensity games, down to the wire where every detail matters type of games, and then switching back to regular season just probably is a little bit deflating. Draymond has said it. He doesn't really get up for, playing the Pistons or playing the Hornets. He says he doesn't get up for those games. I mean, maybe he may need to start getting up for those games if they're going to keep losing to these teams that they're supposed to beat. Um, do I think that they're going to miss the playoffs or not go as deep into the playoffs or anything like that, or not be contenders anymore? Absolutely not. They're still the Golden State Warriors. They're still the defending champs, and that's one thing that I personally do not do, and that's count out the defending champions. In my mind, they're still the champs until somebody knocks them out of the playoffs and beats them. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Just something to kind of take note of, and pay attention to as the rest of the season goes on. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like. Until next time, appreciate you for watching.